You fool!
You fool!
That guy's an idiot. I'm sorry. I finished Blue Box, right? When I tell you I don't like Taki, I do not in any way, shape, or form like Taki. I was getting more interested in his rational friend. I think his name Rio. Rio was like, I'd rather you be the main character, bro. Because Taki, oh my god, I was going through it over there. I want to start with first just talking about the story and its timeline in general first, and then I'm gonna go into a deeper dive on all these characters. The storyline in general, like 25 episodes, right? They started like really gaslighting me around episode 10 through 20. They I felt like those episodes were so overdrawn for no reason that it made me dislike the entirety of the series a little bit more than I should have at first. And then I kind of came back to the realization after thinking about it. I'm like, I was entertained. It was just that the relationship that they were trying to build, it did make a lot of the situations that by the end, unfortunately, this is going to be spoiler filled, so don't watch this if you're trying to avoid spoilers. But those 13 episodes or so made it hit harder when it came to the realization that Taki was never going to go through with anything with Hina, and I knew that from the beginning when he kind of was like, "Oh, I'm just flustered," and I knew that was going to happen. It just felt so wrong for that choice. And to me, the choice was wrong, in my opinion. I know you're not too great, best basketball, popular, blah, 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 blah. I just felt like it was a bad choice, my guy. And maybe I'm just putting in too many real world situations and those types of things where you're literally chasing someone and probably will never reciprocate those feelings. It just felt like I did not want you to per se settle because that's not what you're doing with him. You're literally just experiencing a different type of love before going to your next relationship. Like the first love is your only love. It's kind of crazy to be as a concept to me. But again, this ain't nothing but this is anime. This is slice of life stuff. So I can't really be mad at it. But I just felt like he made a bad decision. That was just the end of it. But me. Now, I felt like they could have cut down some episodes. I'm not gonna lie. They could have cut down a few episodes. I'm not sure how they would have progressed that feeling of, emotional damage that he was gonna do to Hina. But it just felt like it was just too much in the middle of there. And I was like, I'm losing interest and nothing's like the small glance here and there. I'm like, bro, this is what are we doing right now? Like nothing happened at the motel, nothing happened. I'm like, I'm not trying to have them do anything, but it's like progress the conversations to make sure that we're getting to the point by the end of it. It just felt like they kept missing opportunities. I was just like, bro, y'all don't really want to talk to each other, but y'all do want to talk to each other. What is, can you make up your mind? Because it just felt like it was all over the place. By the end of it, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chinatsu. Not gonna lie. I didn't. It's not like she did anything wrong. I do feel like she played little games, but she ain't do too much wrong. It just felt like just focus on your basketball. Stop trying to lead my man's on or keep doing weird stuff. By the end of it, it just felt like she was not the best suited for him by the end of it. And I don't know if they wrote it that way so we can kind of look at this kind of like, yeah, from the viewer perspective, we can clearly see who would be the best choice for someone that had longevity, has someone that was there, that understands them, has a lot of history with them, versus the new person that you have an extremely large crush on. But then they just put her in a box. They kind of left Hina in that box of we just friends. And I was kind of confused by that because it wasn't like my best friend is my wife. They can be the same. There is no difference in that. And it wasn't as if we weren't really good friends before we became got into a relationship. So I just felt like I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what type of writing this is, but it was just all over the place. Um, I did like it coupled. I did like it that it was coupled with all of the whole, going through a bunch of turmoil and trying to get to reach a large goal, because a lot of that stuff you can't really think about. And even as they are young people, it just felt like they had a lot more maturity than most in regards to trying to keep the relationship and them just living together. See, so I thought it was like a cool dynamic for sure. And I like the love triangle. I ain't gonna lie, it was entertaining to watch. And again, all it did was make me appreciate what Hina brought to the table more than what Chinatsu did. And I don't know if they were trying to do that, but that's how I came out of it. I was just like, yeah, yeah, she a dud. I'm not saying she a dud. Well, I said she a dud, but not in that way. She's just not the person that I would avoid a opportunity for, if that makes sense. There's an opportunity between Hina and Tiaki, and he's avoiding that or putting it to the side, and maybe he just doesn't feel that way, and that's cool. It's just a very complex uh series to me that I didn't feel like needed that much complexity to it. But at the end of the day, that's what makes a good series. So if I was to rate this, because I felt like a lot of the side characters, they didn't have much of a massive play, and we really just had to deal with the main three, Natsu, Hina, and Taki. I felt like they could have made that the side characters and side like not quests but side stories better, so that I had more to be entertained by then just looking at what next is going to happen with Hina, Natsu, and all that stuff. I could have had some more in between that 13 episodes. Obviously they brung in Ayami at the end, which I feel like was a breath of fresh air, just to kind of break up the monotony between all the other characters. So I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I like it. But at the same time, I didn't like the outcome. So, and maybe that's gonna be what it is. I didn't like the outcome. And sue me. I didn't care. I didn't like it. I didn't like Chinatsu being the one. Period. And I hope they fail. Am I a little dark? Sure, but I hope they do.